Alright, now that's out of the way, let's leave the royal couple to it. You better give us an heir, you fat, ill-bred boy. Nighty-night. That's gonna be a lot of responsibility. France is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. Quite. That's gonna be a lot of responsibility. France is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. That's gonna be a lot of responsibility. Oh, great. He's a freaking weirdo.
Only 567 more days till Transformers Rise of the Beast. Originally, I wasn't gonna do this video because, well, I'm not that into the whole, legal aspect of things. But then Lászlo released a very interesting video which kind of made me more interested on the topic, so I started doing some digging. And when he said Hasbro and Paramount Pictures are having like this huge fight, at the beginning I was like, that's funny, it's just a little joke. But now, the more I'm looking into it, I think his argument has more validity than people are giving credit for. I'm gonna put a link in the description to his video, but basically the gist of it is, Paramount went behind Hasbro's back. Well, not behind their backs entirely, because Hasbro knew they were gonna postpone the film. What they didn't know is that it was gonna be postponed like for a whole year. Now, when we first found out about this, I found this very strange because it doesn't make that much sense to postpone it for an entire year. I've been right about a lot of things, and I said that right now, I think Hasbro has the toy line ready. Like, not maybe everything 100% ready, but it has like the initial wave 1 of Rise of the Beast, along with concept arts and other stuff and promotional posters to show up. It's just marketing 101. You want to have these things ready like half a year in advance, around there. But then when we got the announcement that Rise of the Beast was being delayed, that's when everything got thrown out the window. Because, if they release them now, it's gonna be marketing suicide. Like, it's like you revealing the whole movie in advance, not leaving, anything for fans to dig in, speculate, theorize, and get hype over. It's the criticism that Spider-Man No Way Home is also getting, where people are like, show us the Spider-Man already! Now, people may not like that, and I was pissed when we didn't see that in the newest trailer, but think about this. I feel like people getting more angry about this is more interesting, it's drawing more attention. People are like, oh yeah, wait, no, the other Spider-Man are on the trailer. But then they see the trailer like, wait, where's the other Spider-Man? And then they comment in the comments down below and they start a discussion. You're getting people to talk about your film. You're getting people to interact, speculate, and do stuff like that. That's good for a film. So it doesn't make sense for Hasbro to release older stuff now. If anything, like Lászlo said and like I predicted, we're probably not gonna see anything for Rise of the Beast, anything major at least, till the end of next year. So yeah, I think there's a lot hidden behind the scenes that we kind of don't know about. And in this video, I kind of just want to summarize what we do know about Paramount and Hasbro's situation after doing some digging into their previous films, how well they perform, how badly they perform, and just the pacing of like how things are moving with the production of the movie and stuff. So yeah, sit back, relax as we
Scooby-Doo this crap.
So like we all know, on August 1st, Rise of the Beast was supposedly delayed. It sounds funny now, because by then, Paramount Pictures had filed a new copyright entry at the United States Copyright Office for the upcoming Rise of the Beast movie. In there we got our first synopsis for the movie. It's very vague, it doesn't really tell us anything. But seemingly, the release date for the project had been pushed back from June to December 2022. However, keep in mind that they never made this public. At no point did Paramount Pictures go to the public and said, oh yeah guys, Rise of the Beast is being delayed till December next year. I'm sorry, but we gotta do that. Instead, they tried to keep this under wraps, and we didn't find out about this a whole week after they filed that new copyright entry. So they were trying to keep this under wraps. But you know what was made public? The confirmation that it was being delayed by a whole year. So meaning that their whole, will we release it next year, will we not release it next year conflict started like very halfway throughout the year. Like the conflicts for Paramount started halfway through the year. That's important because now we have a date as to, when the trouble started. And while I was doing my digging, it doesn't seem that the production itself is a trouble. Like some people were speculating that, oh yeah, they just need more time to, flesh out the CGI and work on that. Like if anything, I would argue if they didn't have the extra time, the movie could have still been finished by the original release date. Like, they have the filming done, they were working on the CGI models like pretty early on because they already had the concept art. If anything, things were going smoothly. I mean, more time it's good because then they can flesh things out further, but at the same time it's kind of unneeded. You don't really need, especially by a whole year. Like, technology is not the same thing as it was during the time of The Last Night of Age of Extinction. Like, we have made quite a few leaps in technology. Just look at movies like The Lion King, live action, and Beauty and the Beast. Like, I know, terrible movies, but the CGI in there is still pretty good, for the most part. So I definitely don't think the CGI or the special effects was the problem. If anything, I think the problem is Paramount itself. Now, Paramount has been in a bad situation ever since, I don't want to say ever since The Last Night, but The Last Night is where people, start losing faith on the TF movies, for good reason, because that movie was bad. I found this post on Quora which summarizes everything pretty well about The Last Night. Was Transformers The Last Night a box office success? Not really. As of October 8, 2017, it has grossed 605 million worldwide. This is a hell of a lot of money, no matter which way you put it, but this is disappointing for a number of reasons. This is the lowest box office number for any Transformers movie. The previous installment, Age of Extinction, grossed 1.1 billion, which is substantially more than The Last Night. The movie had extremely high production costs of around 217 to 260 million. Making it one of the most expensive movies this year. This doesn't even take into account marketing and distribution costs, so it's likely that the film cost well over 300 million to make. As a result, the movie's box office figures means it barely broke even. This is not good for any studio, let alone a studio like Paramount that's already in trouble. Compared to other box office success this year, it was a bit of an embarrassment. Stephen King's It came out in September this year, was made on a measly budget of 35 million but has so far grossed 576 million and is still in theaters, which The Last Night isn't. It seems highly likely that It is going to outgross The Last Night, even though it was made on a shoestring budget in comparison. The Last Night isn't exactly a flop, it still made its money back and then some. It's still the 10th highest grossing movie of the year and it's still a success. But it's not a box office angel like the previous installments of this franchise were. And given the runaway success of several lower budget and much better movies this year, the box office results are likely to turn some heads in Hollywood. And I couldn't summarize it better myself. The Last Night wasn't exactly a failure like people like to say, but Paramount is not looking for, halfway successes or breaking even. They want the amount of money that they did with the previous 4 Transformers movies. And in case you're wondering, Bumblebee was a success, not exactly because it made a lot of money. I think it made a little less than the last Night. But the reason why it was a success and it was profitable was because it was cheaper to make. I think we can all agree that in comparison to The Last Night, there wasn't that much promotion for Bumblebee. I mean, there was promotion, but in comparison, I'm just saying there was much less. And also, it doesn't help for Paramount that, they keep making, kind of shitty movies. Look, ever since Bumblebee, they made What Man 1, Wonder Park, Pet Cemetery, Rocketman, Crawl, Dora and the Lost City of Gold, box office failure, Gemini Man, another box office failure, Terminator Dark Fate, do I even need to mention that one? They do manage to make some, gems here and there, like Sonic the Hedgehog, and, those movies kind of help keep the studio afloat. But if, for every 5 of your movies, 4 of them turn out to be a flop, and 1 turns out to be a really big moneymaker, that's barely enough to keep the studio still running. And it also doesn't help that most of the movies here are, forgettable, and you probably never even heard of them, or even went to check them out. And of course, we got the global pandemic issue. People are now more picky about what they want to go see. Like before COVID hit, I'm sure people will go to see these movies more often, people are not afraid of going to the movie theater and stuff like that. But now, not everyone is in a good situation financially wise or even, health wise, so people are going to be more picky about what they want to go see. People are more likely to go out and see Spider-Man because, it's a very big movie, it's looking very good, very promising, and it's a recognizable character. People are more likely to go see that than something like Every Last One of Them, Bring Your Own Brigade, Infinite, Without Remorse, movies that kinda no one has ever heard of, or, have no real interest on. The biggest movie that Paramount has done recently, in my opinion, will be Snake Eyes, and that movie was trash. I haven't seen it because I have no interest on G.I. Joe stuff, but it was a massive flop. And this has kind of scared Paramount. They basically blamed the pandemic for that movie failing, with no, the movie was just bad, and I don't think anyone had any interest on going to see, you know, a Snake Eyes movie. And Snake Eyes having a huge production, you know, behind its back, and it's flopping because of the pandemic. I think this is the thing that scared Paramount, because now, besides Snake Eyes, for their upcoming movies, their biggest moneymakers I see will be Scream, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, maybe Top Gun, and of course Rise of the Beast, which was gonna be set next year. I think it's because of like the failures they've been having with like big scale projects, and the success they've been having, you know, breaking even with smaller scale projects. I think this has scared Paramount into, you know, holding the production or like postponing like big blockbuster movies like Rise of the Beast. They're like, okay, listen, the pandemic screwed us over, Snake Eyes, so we're gonna wait until this whole thing blows over. So that's why we're not waiting until next year for the movie, December next year, waiting a whole other year, because Paramount really wants this movie to succeed. I wholeheartedly believe that it's on their best interest for this movie to succeed. But they don't want to risk this movie failing. So they want to make sure that the pandemic is over, that the theaters are back to normal, so, you know, they can get the maximum amount of revenue. And this kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, if Back of the Moon were released right now during the pandemic, it would not made anywhere near the same amount of money as it did before the pandemic happened, and you know that's a fact. The problem is that I don't think the pandemic is going away anytime soon. I know people like to say that, oh, but it's ending now, you know, cases are dropping, and some people are saying, no, it's making a comeback, it's twice as strong now. And, you know, regardless, you know, this is not going to be something that kind of just blows over like in a couple of months. I think there's something that's going to last for, I don't want to be pessimistic and say like 5 more years, but it's definitely less than 5 more years. Definitely less, but I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. Well, Paramount's, you know, logic of moving the movie back makes sense. Like, I get it, you know, I get why you're doing it, but at the same time, I'm kind of pissed because I really wanted to see this movie. And, you know, if Rise of the Beast fails, then Paramount kind of also fails with it. That's a bit over dramatic. I'm not saying that, you know, this is the end of Paramount. And even if it's the end of Paramount, let's say Paramount dies. It's not the end of Transformers movies. It just means that Paramount won't be producing them. Hasbro will just be like, oh, okay, you know, we don't want to make any more movies. Hasbro and Paramount even had a contract that was supposed to end conveniently next year, but conveniently the movie got pushed a year further. That's not what the contract said, you know? Like, the partnership's supposed to end next year. And like I previously said, Hasbro already had everything ready. It makes no sense for Hasbro to just right now start working on this whole, on the toy line, the promotional posters, the concept art. They had this ready for quite a while. Right now, I think they have everything ready. They were ready to, you know, start promoting maybe, you know, beginning of next year. But because of Paramount doing this, now they need to, you know, shelve everything. They need to hide everything. They need to conceal and, you know, wait a whole year, plan out what they're gonna do next year. Because next year was supposed to be the year that was gonna be carried by the movie. Next year, now we only have the Transformers, you know, comedy TV show. We got the Legacy toy line, and that's about it. They might still have some other stuff, you know, hidden behind the scenes. But without Rise of the Beast next year, things are looking kind of barren, you know? Like, say what you want about this year, but at least this and last year we had the Netflix series to make fun of. But yeah, I definitely do think that Hasbro's not happy with the situation. I think Laszlo bends the money when he says that Hasbro's really not happy with the situation, and that as soon as the contract ends with Paramount, they're not gonna renew it. They're probably gonna find somebody else to renew, you know, the Transformers license for a future movie. Which, honestly, I don't really mind. Like, Paramount did good with the first 4 Transformers movies, but the last night and like the poor decisions they kept on making was way too much. So, you know, they read what they saw. So the point is, Hasbro's not happy with Paramount. Paramount is slowly dying. Unless next year, movies like Scream, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and, you know, Mission Impossible 7 make bank, Paramount will probably not last very long, because right now it's already struggling. But after pushing the movie back through a whole year, I don't think we're gonna see another delay. Mostly because I think Hasbro's already pretty pissed with Paramount just for, you know, pushing it a whole year. And regardless of the status of the theaters by the year 2023, I think they're gonna release it anyway. I think they have to by that year. If they keep it on the shelf longer, then that's gonna kill hype. I mean, pushing it a whole year already kind of killed some hype. But I mean, but it still has potential. Like people are, for the most part in the community, optimistic that a whole year, it sucks, but that means the movie will end up being better than it was already looking. So it's not all doom and gloom. Well, it is for Paramount, but as for everyone else, it's like, yeah, it's a bit hopeful, because as far as we know, everything's going very smoothly with the production. The actors did a fine job. The filming was executed flawlessly. The only problem is the company, the head honchos at the top of the company that are, kind of complicating things. But hey, we'll have to wait and see as to how it turns out. But yeah, guys, that's my comprehensive guide as to what's going on behind, the scenes between Hasbro and Paramount. Why Paramount is, on its deathbed. Why Hasbro's angry and why the whole pushing of the movie makes no sense for them marketing-wise. And a bunch of other stuff to, help add to the discussion. As always, go check out Laszlo Vincent's video. His is shorter, it gets to the point. I went more in depth, but, it's still worth checking out since, he kind of Scooby-Doo this first. And he's a very good source of news, to get them quickly. So if you're not subbed to him, go and subscribe to him. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll keep you updated with any more Rise of the Beast news. Anyways, bye guys. Guys, before we go, shout out to our amazing Patreons: Xavier the God, Stitch Productions, Scrub Lordo, Allspark Studios, Epic Nin, and Lore Racer. And an even bigger shout out to our even bigger Patreons: Jordan Great, who donated $100, and X23, who donated an amount of money. I'll leave you guys to figure out how much. Thank you guys for supporting me, it's much appreciated. And if you guys want to become a patron yourselves, all you gotta do is donate to my Patreon. By donating to my Patreon, you get quite a few rewards. You get a free shout out to your YouTube channel and a link to it in the description down below. You can request your own videos, you get to see videos early, you can request some artwork too if you donate high enough, or you can collab with me in some of my videos or your videos, vice versa. Scrub Lord. Thank you guys for donating, it's much appreciated. Go check out their channels, link to that is gonna be in the description down below. So feel free to donate. But remember that this is entirely optional because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Anyways, thank you guys for donating, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.